In today's lesson, we're going to be learning how to deploy your machine learning model to score all incoming data on a day-to-day basis. So the first thing we're going to want to do is to drag over another score processor from the left-hand side, just like this score processor that we have set up here. But in this case, we're going to be scoring all the data coming in rather than from one of our split processors. So just drag over the score and connect your transformed data and your model from your random forest classifier over into your score. And you're going to map it just like how you mapped your other score, where we're setting all of our columns to yes as features. Our ID is MCVISID. Our target column is not set to anything. And our partition is identifier and partitioned. And then, of course, you're going to want to rename your output so that it's unique. Once we have that, that's going to be scoring all data coming in to give us our predictions. And we're just going to save and lock this, and then we're going to deploy it into production with our deploy button up top right. And all you do here is need to give it a unique snapshot, and then you'll just click your deployment here. What that's going to do is spin up an EMR cluster, and it'll take a few minutes and then send it over to production. Once it's in production, you'll see over here on the left that we have a new workflow and operations and dependencies dashboards over here. And we're going to click on workflow, and we're going to see that we have a duplicate of our dev environment, but now it's in production. And what that means is that it cannot be changed whatsoever. You can't retune these hyperparameters. These will be frozen in place so that nobody can mess around, and then you get a consistent model every time. The first job we're going to want to set up is retraining our model, and so you'll have two jobs. The first one is going to be these 4 processors where we're going to be training our model in order to recreate it right here. And I have my train model pipeline all set up just like that, and you'll run that for the date range that you want. And that's going to mimic the model that you have in your dev environment. And then on a day-to-day basis, once we have that model that we want, we're going to run a job that's going to be these 3 processors in a row in order to grab this model and apply it to all the data that we're going to have in our date range according to how we set up our job schedule. And I have that one set up in as production score right there. In operations, this is where you go to schedule your job. This is the job that I have set up with those 3 nodes that I just referred to, and they're right here in a row. And you're going to go down to this schedule. Click that on, and you can set it accordingly to yesterday or a current date or last available date. And I'm going to do it by last available date and grab the last number of days. But if you want to do it on a day-to-day, you'll just do current date. And if you have data constantly streaming in and you want to grab last days and score it, then you'll have it set like this. And then you can set your job to run daily or hourly or weekly. And in this case, I'm just going to have it run at 4 in the morning. And all I do is need to click save. And so now we have this pipeline of jobs scheduled. And as data comes flowing in, we're going to be seeing that it's going to be scoring it on a day-to-day basis. And you'll just access this data set in order to get your scores. Right here I believe I have my scores all set up right there in production, and then you can build dashboards off of this or email it out or send files out and such. All right, and that's it for today's lesson.